Okay, we're going to do a video solution key for Chapter 6 Quiz 1, and we'll see how far we get in this particular solution key. First of all, we're going to take a look at number 1. Okay, so first of all, we see in the first two lines are declarations and initializations for total and count. The variable total has a value of 0, count has 1. We start with the while loop. Count is going to be the loop control variable. So while count is less than 4. So 1 is less than 4. So that's true. So we jump into the loop. And the first line in there is to assign the total equal to whatever the total is now plus whatever the count is now times 3. So it's going to be 0 plus 3. So total is assigned 3 right now. The next line down is count plus plus. So we're going to increment count by 1. The next line down is the ending brace for the while loop, which tells us to go back to the while loop. Now count is 2. So is 2 less than 4? Yes, it is. So we jump back in the loop. We find the total is assigned to whatever the total is, which is now 3. And then the count is now 2. So it's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 3, which is 9. So total is assigned 9 now in the memory location. The next line down is count. Don't want to skip lines, so it's going to be incremented. And now it's 3. So the next line after the count plus plus is the ending brace, which tells us to go back to while. And now count, is the count less than 4? Yes, it is, because it's 3. And so we jump back into the loop, and then we assign the total as being whatever the total is now, which is 9, plus whatever the count is times 3, which is 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 9 is 18. So total is assigned 18. The next line down after this is the incrementing of the count variable, the count controlled loop, the loop control variable, and so it becomes 4. Next line down is the ending brace for the while loop, which says end of loop, but let's go back to while. And in here, the count is now 4. And 4 is not less than 4, so this is false. So therefore, we kick out of the loop. The first line after this closing brace is this line. And so we are to print out the value of total. The value of total right now is 18. And it said, then the next line says, print the count, the value of count. Well, the value of count is 4. This is what made the loop stop, is because it got to 4. So don't say 3. It is 4. That's the value of count at this stage of the game. Okay, now let's look at number 2. In number 2, the first 3 lines are initializations of the 3 variables, and here's their values. So the next line down is the loop, while loop, getting started. So the while statement here says, is count less than or equal to 4? Well, count is right now 1. So this is the loop control variable being tested. And then when we jump into the loop, it's true, so we jump into the loop. The loop starts here and ends down here. This is the end of the loop. Alright, so this is the start of the loop right here. So we jump inside here, and the first statement we see is an if statement. So is num2 greater than num1? Well, num2 is 5. Num1 is 10. It is not greater. This is an if-else structure. So we do one or the other, not both. And so since this is false, we skip the if clauses and we go down to else. Well, else says this takes anything else. So we jump into this else, and the very first statement in the else section or portion is print the word dog. So over here on the screen we print dog. The next line down says take num2 and assign it to whatever num2 is plus 3. Well, num2 is 5, so 5 plus 3 is 8. So num2 is assigned 8. The next line down after this one, because we don't skip lines, we don't go straight up, is we go num1 and we're going to decrement it. And so num1 is now 10, so it's going to decrement 1, it becomes 9. The next line is the ending for the else. So now we're done with the if-else structure, and so we come out of here and go to the next line of code. Well, the next line of code says to count the variable. There's nothing that says go anything else, do anything else. This is the next line of code. It says increment count. So we're going to increment count, and that becomes 2. The next line of code is the end of the while loop. And the end of the while loop says this is it, now go back to while. So we go way up here back to while, and now we're going to test the loop control variable again. Well, it's now, because it's counting, it's a counting variable, it's going to be, it's 2. So is 2 less than or equal to 4? Well, yes it is. And so now we're going to jump into the loop again. And we start out with this if statement. Notice it's just the same as what it was before. Well, no, it's not the same, sorry. So we check this, and so num2 is 8. And num1 is 9. Well, num2 is not greater than, is not greater than 9. So therefore, we are not going to do the if section. We are going to do the else section. And so we go in here, and we're going to print dog again. The next statement down from the statement of printing dog is this one, and that says that assign num2 to be num2 plus 3. Well, num2 right now is 8, and if we add 3 to that, then we're going to get 11. So 11 is assigned to num2. The next line down subtracts 1 in the number 1 in the num1, so now num1 becomes 8. The next line down is the end of the else section, so we go to the next line down is count plus plus, so now it becomes 3. Then you keep on going down. Always go down to the next line until it tells you to go somewhere else. Well, this brace right here tells us to go somewhere else. So we go up to the while statement, test the loop control variable, which has been altered, and so now it's 3. And that if it doesn't get altered, this test will never be false. So 3 is less than or equal to 4. And so we go in here and we check into the loop and we check this if statement again. So, well, is num2 is 11 and num1 is 8. Is 11 greater than 8? Well, of course it is. So therefore, this is true. So now we're actually going to jump into the if portion and do the if clause. Well, the first clause says to print cat. And then the next line down is to increment num2. The next line down is an ending brace for the if. So we're done with the if structure because you only do one thing. You do an if or an else, not both. And so that means you go to the bottom of the if structure. Well, the bottom of the if structure is right here. So we go past that. The next line down is to increment count. So the next line down is the end of the while loop. We go back up to the while statement, and now we check, is 4, because count is now 4 in the memory location, is 4 less than or equal to 4? Well, yes, it is. So we go into the if clause again, and we see that is num2, which is 12, is that greater than 8? Well, it is. So we jump into the if clause again, and we get to print cat once again. So now we have another cat. And the next line down is increment number num2. The next line down is the brace for the ending brace for the if. So we're done with the if-else structure. We go below the if-else structure, and the next line down is the to increment count. Count is now 5. The next line down is the ending brace loop. Tells us to go back up to while, and now instead of count being 4, it's 5. Is 5 less than or equal to 4? No, it isn't. So now we kick out of the while loop, which means go down below the end of the loop. Well, the next statement down is empty. So we are done, and so this is what you should have on the screen: dog, dog, cat, cat.